The High Court in Kampala is set to rule on Dr. Kizza Besigye's bail application this morning. Today marks the 147th day that the opposition leader has spent in incarceration following his arrest in Kenya's capital Nairobi late last year. His political aide, Haji Obeid Lutale, who was arrested alongside him, is also seeking release on bail. Presiding over the matter will be Justice Rosette Comfort Kanya, who may grant or deny the application or impose conditional release for the duo. Dr. Besigye and Haji Lutale are facing charges of treason and misprision of treason, both of which carry the maximum penalty of death by hanging upon conviction. In his bail application filed nearly 2 months ago, the four-term presidential contender raises 9 grounds to justify his release. Dr. Besigye argues that he's being persecuted for defending the Constitution and championing the rights of the citizens to organize for peaceful, lawful governance. He also cites advanced age. He is 60 years old and in poor health. The Bukimbiri Member of Parliament, Eddie Kwizera, has asked the government to clarify on whether the 60 million shillings allocated for each traditional cultural kingdom per month is for an individual or an institution. Kwizera made the request for clarification while presenting the sector budget report from the Committee on Gender, Labour and Social Development. He notes that with the mushrooming traditional culture institutions, the government has to also indicate whether these allocated funds per culture institution will attract tax charges because it is not clear whether this is an income to an individual. Kwizera has also questioned the rationale for government to pay cultural leaders 60 million shillings every month, and yet the available law provides for regional governments.
Do they deduct pay as you earn? Is it an income to the individual, the king, or chief, or leader, or it is to the institution? We need to be specific. You are giving 60 million to maybe like Magezi Kingdom or traditional leader. So we want to know if it is for him or if it is for the institution, so that we know that now there is a traditional leader who is receiving the money. Mr. Speaker and the honorable members, you remember that the role provided is for regional governments, and we have refused to take up regional government. So why should we then provide for money to motivate people to start calling themselves things?
Uganda's insurance industry has been advised to focus on cheap and convenient means of payment for services to boost penetration. Dr. Augustus Nwagawa, the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Uganda, says all industries today are innovating in payments primarily through digitization because the markets increasingly prefer convenience. Speaking at a CEO conference organized by the Insurance Regulatory Authority, Nwagawa provided the example of Kenya, where vehicle owners are allowed to pay in up to 12 months installments for comprehensive insurance, unlike in Uganda where a lump sum is required. Nwagawa was presenting the highlights of a survey done by his firm, Reef Consult, on public perception and the limitations to insurance penetration in Uganda.
I think you need to take note of that. That's what people are saying. Cost is high. Apart from the cost being high, also the micro products. We must, let me say it now, is that Kenya has succeeded. They have also have micro insurance. And people, you find that if we are having these cars and I pay 20 million per year, in Kenya you don't do that. The 20 million can be divided over the 12 months, 20 divided by 12, somebody is paying, what, 1.6 million. What's wrong with that? What's really wrong with that? But if you want me to pay the 20 million at a go, it is a problem.
The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Taibwa, is urging Ugandan businesses to adopt strategies that promote the African continental free trade area. This, he says, will tackle the international challenges posed by global superpowers. Taibwa encourages Ugandans to form trade partnerships and embrace the concept of ATM, which stands for Agriculture, Tourism and Minerals, to enhance Uganda's economy beyond 55 trillion shillings. He made the remarks during the opening ceremony of the 8th Annual Insolvency Conference, which focuses on balancing financial stability, recovery and investment strategies. The conference is organized by the Uganda Registration Services Bureau.
You must have a global picture. You can't just have a picture of Uganda. If you want to do laws that support our economy, you must have a helicopter view of the world. Where is the business going? Where are we fitting? How can we strategize ourselves? Who are we going to work with? And for us, as a government, our strategy is for Africa. We are not looking at Uganda, no. And we are not only looking at East Africa. We are saying through the Africa Free Continental Trade Area, we shall be able to move mountains in as far as this continent.
The Committee on Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries has recommended a phased increase in funding for the Agro-Industrialization program. The Parliamentary Committee has expressed concern over the recent reduction in Uganda's Agro-Industrialization Program budget, which has dropped from 2.9% of the national budget in 2024-2025 to 2.4% in 2025-2026. The committee says this falls short of the 2.4 trillion shillings target set in the National Development Plan 4. The committee is advocating for a rise in the budget of the agro-industrialization from the current 2.4% of the budget to 5% of the national budget. This, the committee says, will align with Uganda's commitment under the Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program to allocate 10% of the national budget to agriculture by 2025. This was one of the recommendations presented by the committee chairperson, Linda Auma, who presented the committee report during the House sitting chaired by Deputy Speaker Thomas Taebwa. For more stories and the latest updates, log on to SanyoFM.com.